Welcome to the Anita Purvis Nature Center. The Nature Center is closed during the pandemic, but my name's Judy Miller. I work for the Urbana Park District as the program manager for the Nature Center, and I'll be taking you for a hike in Busey Woods today. I'm in the habitat garden on the west side of the Nature Center and have found a plant just starting to bloom. This is wild garlic. It is an invasive plant and not very good for the environment in this part of the country. It's a plant, an invasive that's come from another country. I'm going to pull it and then I'm going to bag it and put it in the garbage, because even after I pull it, it can continue to grow and have its seeds dispersed. We're at the Gateway Trail entrance. This trail takes you from the parking lot, the built environment, down into the woods where it is more natural. Stop and check out the exhibit that's here as well. Right before the bridge, we have another exhibit that talks about the history of Busey Woods and provides a trail guide as well as guides that you can pick up and take with you while you hike in Busey Woods. Busey Woods is a 59-acre oak hickory forest that once was part of the big grove, which was about 10 square miles in Urbana area. Well, spring beauties are still outstanding in the woods and through Crystal Lake Park. This flower is one of the first to bloom in Busey Woods and will be one of the last spring ephemerals. Along the boardwalk trail, you'll find a plant with some droplet signs on it. Those are watermarks for the water leaf plant. They're not actually made by water, but they look like water has dropped on the plant. It'll get a purple flower coming up soon. We are on the Power Line Trail, aptly named, that bisects Busey Woods. You'll notice that we have some purple flowers coming out on the redbud. All the green leafy shrubs you see about eye level are honeysuckle, which is an invasive plant and that the Park District manages to remove. Busey Woods is a wet woods, and therefore we'll find swamp buttercup growing very well throughout the forest. It likes to keep its roots nice and wet. We have some new signs up in the woods that we want you to read and take notice of. Please keep 6 feet between you and other people. Here we have a yellow violet. Violets come in lots of different colors, not just violet. The forest floor is just a carpet of wildflowers growing right now. In just a couple weeks, the trees will leaf out, and there'll still be greenery on the forest floor, but not all these variety of wildflowers. Here we have a close-up of the spring beauty. Notice the variance in color. Some are pinker than others. The pink ones, which have brighter stripes leading to the pollen, are pollinated more often, but I heard recently they're also attractive to herbivores like deer. When you hike in Busey Woods, you'll find ponds. This is part of the North Pond. It winds around, and we're on a boardwalk that covers it and goes off. If you'll notice, there's not as much water in this area. The ponds dry up in the warmer season, and as a result, the animals that live in the ponds have to be able to survive when it's dry. Many animals like mosquitoes and dragonflies start their lives in the water as nymphs, and then they leave the water as adults. The green scummy stuff you see on the pond top is algae. One of the favorite school programs we do in the spring is a ponding program where we use nets to capture the animals and put them in pans of water so the kids can see them up close. Here's a fairy shrimp, which is very specific to ephemeral or seasonal ponds. It looks a little bit like a sea monkey. And then these are mosquito larvae, that are breathing. See their little tubes up to the surface of the water? They're breathing air and will morph into an adult. Very much taller than they were even just a week ago are the mayapple. There are two here with two sets of leaves, and in between the leaf is a bud that will blossom in May and then produce a little apple type fruit. This plant though is poisonous, so don't go eating those apples. I've looked for this the last couple weeks and it's just now blooming. Notice the three leaves. It's called trillium and it has purple flowers. It's the prairie trillium, also called bloody nose. Its dark color and scent looks a little bit like dead meat, which attract flies. It's pollinator. Here's a mayapple forest for you on the forest floor. With a chickadee calling behind us, if you can hear it. Along the boardwalk trail, about the center of the woods, the north half of the woods, you'll find a hole in the ground that a lot of people think is from a tree that fell and pulled up the soil with the roots. But there would be evidence of the trunk or roots still. This was a research project done back in the 80s that never got filled back in. In the 1990s, the park district used to have an event called Dinosaur Day, and this was one of our dinosaur nests one year. The park district actively maintains and manages Busey Woods. We do that by removing invasive plants, planting plants that belong here, and we even use fire, which was common back when the woods would have been surrounded by prairie. We use fire to help keep out the invasive species as well. Here we have toothwort, which is the only one I've found blooming so far. Notice the serrated edges of the leaves, or toothed leaf, and has a whitish purple flower that's almost done blooming. Along the base of this tree, we find some trout lily just holding off opening its blooms today. Notice the petals, or the leaves, have kind of a mottling on them. Looks something like the scales on a brook trout, thus it's named trout lily. It also is called dogtooth violet because when the petals open, they bend back and look like the eye tooth or the incisor of a dog. This plant has to have pollinators that can fly upside down to reach them. Right here at this section of the woods, we have several flowers with at least the leaves showing. We've got the trillium with a flower over here. We got mayapple. We have spring beauties coming up as well. And then trout lily leaves and some violets. Here we have the sounds of a spring woods. Cardinals calling, woodpeckers tapping, hikers in the woods as well. White-throated sparrow. Old Sam Peabody. The noise is a red-bellied woodpecker. In various locations in the woods, you'll find rubble and bricks and slabs of cement and even a staircase going nowhere. These are not evidence of houses in Busey Woods. These are the houses that used to be where Lincoln Square Mall is. And when the owners of Busey Woods, the Busey family, were planning to bulldoze the woods, they needed to flatten the low areas where the ponds are. And so they allowed the dumping of the rubble in Busey Woods. In the early 1970s, just around Earth Day 50 years ago. The family decided to instead donate the land to the university, and the Park District leased it for environmental education. We leave the rubble to remind us about its history, and because if you notice, there's trees and wildflowers growing all along in the rubble, and if we were to remove it, we would destroy habitat.